Well guys, welcome back to another episode of Traplines and Inlines. You know it's a beauty day in the bush before I even tell you guys. How are you doing all today? Hope everyone's doing just great. Now, quite a change here around camp. We no longer have the chickens, they're gone. So I'm here and I'm talking about that. I'm just working, we're cleaning up the run, getting everything taken down and converting this into a shed for storage. But thought I would make a video and go into detail as to why. First and foremost, I really love chickens. Like, I like having them, and I always have liked having them. And I had them a lot when I was a kid. It was kind of my business. I had a whole bunch of chickens, and I was selling eggs, and you know, had all kinds of fancy different ones, and even turkeys and weird things of that sort. Now, that was pretty top-notch for me when I was just a young buck, and you know, you don't spend any money on anything, just save it all, and it was worth half a shit is what it was. So it was right on. So I kind of always kind of fell in love with having them then, and you know, I still really like having them. And chickens are about the easiest animal to look after. You know, every morning here, guys, I get up at camp, I drink a coffee, I come out here, it takes me like 5 minutes, and I go run water over there. I fill up a big feeder. You just let them self-feed, fill that up once a week, grab a couple eggs out of there, fill up the water. It takes no time at all. I had all those chickens, and I had a lot of roosters, I had a lot of hens. I just bought the chicks mixed. I couldn't buy them sexed, they had to be mixed. And I end up with a lot of roosters, of course. Now, originally I was going to sell them paired, and I was going to need the roosters to do that, and I had good value in the roosters and how I was going to sell them, and I planned to sell them in the spring. That fell through on me, so I was left with a whole bunch of roosters that really don't have any purpose, is the truth of it. Like, you can't really do anything with them. You know, you can't keep them with the hens, they just kill them. You know, they're really hard on them. You put them together, they're hard on each other. I had to be careful they didn't kill each other. I had to sort off a couple weak ones because they just start beating on it. What I did is I butchered them, and you know, I got the freezer just filled with chicken. You know, I've been eating a lot of chicken. It's good, real good food source. You know, I got lots of it. It wasn't my favorite thing to do, like I don't enjoy it, but it's all you can do really. They don't have any purpose, and good eating guys gonna be eating good for a while, you know. Now, as for the rest, I kept a couple roosters and the hens, and they actually went to my little cousins there. They're pretty excited about them too, so they're having fun with them. I've kind of passed them on to them, if you will. And I also sold the chicken tractor too with them that I built because I don't have any use for it, so that was all good. And you know, they're doing good still, they're just not here. And really what came down to it, guys, is I find myself busy thinking about a lot of things, working on a lot of things, and I do try and work hard at everything, of course, as always, guys, but also efficiently. You know, try and restructure from time to time, see what I really should be working on, things that are taking me a lot of time. As much as I do enjoy some of those things take a lot of time, and really they're not really worth it. It really came down to being so far off grid, really being the downfall to having chickens. It made it much more difficult at times. I just kind of came to the conclusion that it wasn't really worth it. I do like having them, you know, for sure I do, but there was times where it was costing me a lot of time. And mainly the fault of being so far off grid, which is fine, and we'll get into it here. So because I'm so far off grid, a lot of things just become more difficult. Now, and for the most of the time it's been really simple, really easy, but there are circumstances where all of a sudden it's a lot of work and you don't really get anything out of having chickens, you know. Like, you get some eggs, you have some extra ones you sell, pay for feed or whatever, but it really is just a hobby. Hard to treat as much more than that, because you're not going to really make any money with 20 hens, that's for sure, whatever you got. We're so far off grid here, guys. It's such a miserable long trip. It takes so long to get anywhere, and it's really rough getting in here. It just takes so long to get in here. So to look after them, you have to be here all the time, you know. Like, and there have been times like this past summer where I went on a a trip to see family and such, and it was a real chore getting someone to look after them, because you can't come in and out of here every day. It's 2 hours every day for someone to come and look after 20 chickens. Well, that's of course not worth it, so I had to move them somewhere else, you know, and that was a real chore. It was really hard in that circumstance. Now, I am pretty grounded, you know, like I'm not a big traveler, but the odd time I do like to go places or go somewhere for a couple days, and that's a kind of a real nuisance. You know, I was gone 6 weeks and had someone else look after them, and it's just a bit of a liability. You kind of put it on somebody else, you know. It wasn't the best. So it kind of tied me down for not very much. Like, you own livestock, it really ties you down. But it was like, for what is it tying me down for, you know? Another thing too, also related, is quite often, you know, you gotta get feed for them all the time. Well, sometimes you kind of run out and you need feed, or maybe you forget, which is of course my fault, but it happens. It happens a fair bit, where you run out of feed or something, and then you realize it's the long weekend. And then it just becomes, you know, like, what am I doing here? I don't got time to make special trips just for chicken feed. It's 2 hours there and back. Like, it's just painful. You can't be doing that. So I try and limit the amount of things, the amount of trips I have to do. And it was, you know, the odd time it was adding a trip or so. It's just no good, you know, like, I'm a busy guy. I got a lot I want to be doing all the time. I really try and cut things back that are not as beneficial to me, and work on more productive things, if you will. So when I was snowed out here all winter, like nearly half the year, I had no access by truck. I was skidooing in here all winter. Well, trying to haul out a whole bunch of eggs on the skidoo is painful, because it's so rough. You got to worry about them freezing. It's just a mess. It's like, what are you doing? Or you gotta haul in feed on a skidoo when you already got limited space. Like, it just became a chore for me. It did, you know. Or they got mites here over the winter, and I had to worry about treating them. There's just a lot of little things to it that come up. You know, this all really started to hit me. It started to hit me when I went on my trip, but it really hit me this winter that I gotta focus up a bit. Another time it really hit me was I had COVID quite bad. It was 40 below, and I was making trips on the skidoo for chickens. That was painful. I got the skidoo stuck this damn far in snow, because I had chickens that were gonna have no feed. I got her stuck. It stormed like hell. I had them stuck, skidoo stuck. I was shoveling for hours with a fever of probably 110, of really a lot. And I was like, what am I doing, you know? Like, holy. For those kind of reasons, and mainly it's just being so far off grid that causes dilemmas, you know. I'm trying to simplify the things I'm doing, be more focused on what I'm doing. I love having chickens. They went to a good place, you know, like they'll be happy there. I'm passing it on. As much as I kind of will miss them around here, you know, it's the right thing to do, because I'm a busy guy and there's always so many things to be doing. I gotta kind of prioritize and try and progress and work on productive things, and try and doing a bit of restructuring here, if you will, and stay focused on really what I'm doing, you know, trying to limit distractions and stuff. You know, that's kind of the game plan, kind of the idea. If the reality is, if I was closer and just on an acreage or something, and someone could look after them, and it was I had closer access to supplies and things like that, I would keep them without question, because it's so easy. It's 10 minutes every day tops, you know. It's just nothing. But that being off grid this far is really why I've decided to stop having the chickens and focus up here a bit. So I took down all this stuff, you know, and tore it out. And this is a wonderful building, you know, this chicken coop. It's fully insulated. It's built well. I built it. I got a few grand into it. So I wanted to get good use out of it. And I do need more storage space around here for sure. I have a lot of tools, and I definitely have good use for it for a shed. So I've been working here, getting it cleaned up, vacuumed out, the shit torn out of it, the run taken down. and we're gonna build some shelving in there and stuff, start storing some stuff, and have some more room in the workshop. Just a quick explanation here for you guys. I know you guys would be curious. That's all what happened, and thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for the next one. Hope everybody's doing just great.